Welcome to Lesson 6, Isolating the First and Last Sounds in Words. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify the age and the time in the school year by which most American children can isolate the first sound in words, identify 3 visuals that can assist children with isolating sounds in words, describe the most common error when pronouncing phonemes, list 3 consonants that have continuing sounds and 3 consonants that have stop sounds, and contrast the technique of using continuing sounds with the technique of using stop sounds when teaching children how to isolate sounds in words. We are now working in the realm of phonemic awareness on a skill set that everyone agrees is necessary for learning to read and spell in an alphabetic language. The easiest tasks when learning to distinguish between individual sounds are to isolate the first and then the last sound in words. This ability does not come easily. Only about 1/4 of the 5-year-olds studied were able to separate the onset from the rhyme before entering kindergarten. But by age 5½, most children can answer the question, what is the first sound in milk? In terms of the school year, Schuel and Boudreau proposed that children should successfully isolate the first and last sounds in words by the middle of kindergarten. So, how do we help all kindergarten students develop the skill of isolation, and how do we support older students who are still working at that level? Start with the easiest of the phoneme level tasks, isolating the first sound. But first, gather your visuals. Your students may need help to learn the meaning of the words first, last, middle, beginning, and ending. Choose side views of animals that show both the front and tail ends. Use a toy train with its engine, a few rail cars, and a caboose. You can use modified Elkonin boxes with green or red dots to show which sound is being isolated. Haggerty suggests using pieces of felt on a felt board. Or you may choose to use your own body. Pointing to your left shoulder and running your finger down your arm to your wrist can be used to reinforce the meaning of the position words. A second use of all of these visuals is to clarify the task that the child is being asked to complete. Anecdotally, many children will continue to provide the first sound even after they move on to isolating the last sound. If this should happen, touch your left shoulder and say, "This would be the first sound." Run your finger down your arm and tap your left wrist a few times. Ask the child, "What is the last sound?" If reading in a language that is written left to right, ensure that your visuals are oriented so that the front part or first part of the visual is on the left. If you prefer to use the right side of your body, be sure to start at your right hand and end at your right shoulder. Before we jump into phoneme level activities, let's touch again on the importance of pronouncing phonemes correctly. Ashby and her colleagues advise educators to clip all consonant sounds. What does this mean, and why is it important? The most common mistake made during phonemic awareness activities is the production of the schwa vowel, the beginning sound that you hear when you say the word about. For some consonants, avoiding the schwa vowel is impossible. Listen to my production of the following letter sounds: b, g, d, j, w, y. The best I can do when pronouncing these phonemes is to clip or shorten the schwa vowel. There are several phonemes for which we must avoid the schwa vowel altogether. These would be m, n, p, t, k, f, v, and h. If, in error, beginning readers learn these phonemes with the schwa vowel tacked on the end, they are set up to experience confusion and frustration when they try to decode words. For example, the word man would be decoded as ma-a-na or ma'ana. a word that is not in anyone's vocabulary. To avoid this unnecessary frustration, teach the correct phoneme pronunciations to children, parents, educational assistants, and other support staff involved with phonemic awareness activities. All right, we're ready to isolate the first sound in words. The script is simple enough. Ask the question, what is the first sound in the word foot? Your choice of target words is a bit more complicated. Start with one-syllable words that begin with one consonant. Avoid words beginning with consonant blends because blends are harder to segment. Avoid words that begin with vowels in kindergarten and older grades because most children need the practice distinguishing consonant sounds at the beginning of words. In your first lessons, choose consonants that make a continuing sound. If you choose words that start with the letters S, Z, SH, F, V, or M, you can extend the first sound, if needed, to help the student notice it. From now on, refer to that process as stretching. The support will sound like this. I'm going to stretch out the first sound. Foot. Once the students are successful with isolating continuing sounds, add in short words that start with a stop sound that is visible when it is produced. The letters T, D, B, and P have phonemes that are visible when you say them. The phonemes for K and G are also stop sounds, but they are produced at the back of the mouth, and the student will not see your articulators move, so they are less helpful. To draw the student's attention to the first sound when it is a stop sound, repeat the sound 2 or 3 times. From now on, refer to this repetition of sounds as bouncing. Support will sound like this. I'm going to bounce the first sound. D, 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 duck. Let's watch these practices put into action in Shannon's kindergarten classroom.
Today, we're going to listen for the first sound in words. We're going to use these Alconen boxes to help us find the first or beginning sound. Let's use words that we would use in school. We're listening for the first sound. Ready? Shoe. Let's do some more. Instead of using the Alconen boxes, I'll use my arm. The next word is bus. Listen for the beginning or first sound. Ready? B, b, bus. You got it. Now it's your turn to find the beginning sound using your Alconen boxes. Are you ready? What's the first sound of desk?
D.
Nailed it.
Your session in the classroom can be as simple as working through 10 to 15 large picture cards, or you can use a collection of objects like plastic foods from the Kitchen Center or animal puppets from the 7 Sacred Teachings set. For small group work or pair work, consider the use of See It, Say It, where one student reaches into a box, pulls out an object, names the object, and then says the first sound in its name. In the card game Phoneme Go Fish, 2 or more students look for pairs of words starting with the same first sound. And in Move and Tell, children move around a game board. While the instructions say to isolate the medial or middle sound, you can adapt the game so that the initial or final sound is isolated. For Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention, pull out activities that involve alliteration, initial sound sorts, and onset rhyme. A highly structured program for teaching sound isolation is available in the Intensive Phonological Awareness Program by Schuell and Murphy. If you own their book, you can access this initial sound puzzle activity that gives additional support as the matching pairs are printed on puzzle pieces that fit together. Teaching children to isolate the last sound looks very similar to isolating the first sound, except some people prefer to start with short words that end in visible stop sounds. Repeating the stop sound may be more effective than a continuing sound in terms of drawing the child's attention to the end of the word. The support would look like this. Listen for the last sound. Foot. As mentioned earlier in this module, the use of letters during phonological awareness activities is controversial. Connecting sound to print at the end of phoneme-level tasks may be a solution for some. One example would be asking the students to find the letter tile that matches the last sound that they isolated. Now let's watch Shannon as she puts some of these strategies into practice.
Do you remember the story, The Three Snow Bears?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's have some fun thinking for the end sound or the final sound, the sound here, the last sound of some of these words. We'll tap the spinner and figure out the ending sound.
Little bear.
Okay,
No bear.
so should we do bear? Let's do the end sound, the final sound. Ready? Listen and look here. Put your eyes here. Ready? Bear. Great job. One more. Let's give it a tap. Okay, watching here. We're going to use our little dog to find the ending sound here. Ready? Boot. Boot. Right there at the end. Now we're going to use some of our grandfather teachings to think of the last sound, the ending sound. Are you ready? You're going to move your cube onto your Alconen boxes to find the last sound. So look at your boxes. Ready? The first word is, are you looking? Love.
Love.
Last sound is what we're listening for.
Exactly.
And we'll do one more. We're listening for the ending sound, the last sound. Okay, I've chosen the word wisdom. Can you find the last sound?
Is done.
Wisdom. What's the last sound? Wisdom. You got it. What letter? Can you find the letter for the last sound?
Done.
What letter did you find? M says mm.
That was easy.
Great job.
It's easy.
Activities include the last sound is from the Florida Center for Reading Research, the ending sound picture sort from the Texas Primary Reading Inventory resources, and a final sound sort from the Intensive Phonological Awareness Program. For students who need additional support when isolating the last sound, have the student practice separating the onset with the vowel from the sounds following the vowel, known as the coda. Here is that separation for the word rope. The Intensive Phonological Awareness Program provides a structured set of lessons focusing on isolating the final sound in words. Here is a final sound puzzle that is included in their program. Let's recap Lesson 6. The explicit teaching of isolating first and last sounds is widely supported. By 5.5 years of age and by the middle of kindergarten, most children can isolate the first sound in words. Use visuals to support children with developing language skills, children with low auditory attention, and children with low short-term memory. Visuals will teach the meaning of position words and remind children of which sound they are trying to isolate. Visuals can include toys and pictures of animals that show an obvious front and back. Use Alconen boxes that have been modified to highlight the first or last sound. Use squares of felt on a felt board or use your shoulder, arm, and wrist, ensuring that you are moving from the left to the right from the learner's point of view. The most common error made during phonemic awareness activities is the addition of the schwa vowel when saying phonemes. To assist with isolating first and last sounds, continuing sounds are drawn out, while stop sounds are repeated 2 or 3 times.